Hey guys, welcome back. So I just came back from an Orange Theory class. I've been taking Orange Theory. This was my fourth class or fifth class. Fourth class. So I wanted to talk to you guys about some of the stuff that they don't tell you right away, or if you're not sure what Orange Theory is, I wanted to kind of give you some background. And really quickly, my top is from Aloe Yoga. It's like a crop top. I'm wearing a Chloe Harper sports bra top underneath, the one with the cutout, and my leggings are from Forever 21. So the first thing I wanted to talk to you about is that when you sign up, there's a monthly plan that you have to pick. So you can't just like show up to Orange Theory and be like, yeah, I want to take a class today and like pay a fee and then do it. And you can't get like a pack of 10 classes or something like that. It's a month to month plan. So you sign up, you fill out a waiver, you sign all this paperwork, and then you give them your credit card. And usually you can get like one trial class, or if your club is like brand new, like mine was just opening, they let you do as many classes as you can get before they open. So I think we had like a 2-week window that we could do it, but I signed up towards the end, so I only got a few days out of it. And then you choose either 4 classes a month, so that is about once a week, 8 classes a month, which is about twice a week, or unlimited. And depending on the tier of your club, it's going to be different prices. So like, for example, like I have 4 classes a month, which was the lowest package they offer. And I think mine costs like $69 a month. And if it was a higher tier club, so I think if it's like a more popular area, or if it's like a more high-end gym, or they have like a bigger space or something like that, it could be more. So like I checked with one of the ones at home where my parents are, and theirs is like $79 a month for that same package. So depending on your tier of your club, it's going to be different. And then the next thing I wanted to tell you about is that the whole class is based around your heart rate, and it measures all this stuff on like a bunch of big TVs. And so basically, each person that shows up is given a little rectangle on that screen, and then on each machine that you're on, you also have a little touch screen that shows you all of these metrics as you're working out. So when you show up, when it's your first class, they let you borrow a band, and then from that point on, you can either rent a band, which is $5 or $10 depending on what kind you want. So there's one that goes underneath, like where your sports bra strap would be, like your elastic band, and that's your chest monitor. That one to rent each class is I think $5. And then to rent this armband, which can either go on your forearm or up by your bicep, is $10 per class to rent. And then if you wanted to buy them, I forget, they gave me the rates of what it was, but depending on which one you want to buy, they're both about like $100 to $110, $120, something like that. So most people decide that it's worth it to buy them. I ended up just getting mine used. So like you can go on like Poshmark or Mercari and see if somebody is selling them. Just make sure if you're getting one used, it comes with the charger. It's just basically a mini USB that goes into like the back of this heart rate monitor, and you can just hook it up to that little square that comes with like a phone charger. It's like a big USB, and you can charge it that way. And then even if you get it used, like you'll just go in, and if you're renting one, they do the same thing. They'll program it with your name. So when you sign up, like they have all of your information, and they'll just sync the band that you're using, either if it's yours or if it's one that you're renting, with your information, so that as you collect metrics, you can have access to those metrics not only at the end of the class, but then your metrics are emailed to you and you can access it through their Orange Theory app. So there's a few different things that you have to go through when you're taking a class. So there's 3 main stations. So when you walk into a class, you'll pick up a card, and each card has a number on it, and then it tells you your station. So there's a bunch of rower cards, so like the erg machine where you're pretending that you're rowing. There's treadmill cards, and there's floor station cards. So you'll pick your card, and it has like a little number on it. And when you walk into the studio, you'll go over to that station that you chose, and you'll find your number either marked on the treadmill, the rower, or on the floor, like the bench. And then you'll stay at that number every time you rotate station. So if I'm number 12, let's say, and I start on the floor, after floor, I will move on to the treadmills and go to number 12, and then I'll move on to the rowers and go to rower number 12. And I'll stay there the whole time, which is kind of nice because it saves you a lot of time, like finding a space to go. And then the floor space not only has your bench and TRX straps on the wall, but it has a Bosu ball, an ab dolly, a mini mat. There's mats on the wall if you need extra mats, a whole set of dumbbells, I think 8 pounds to 20 pounds, 25 pounds. Then there's heavier dumbbells on the wall if you need heavier. There's medicine balls on the wall because we don't use those as often. And there's a whole bunch of equipment just at each station, so you don't really need to like move around or share equipment or anything like that. So everything is yours and it's like ready to go. And then on each of the TVs, so you have TVs the whole time, broadcasting everybody's metrics at the same time in a color-coded rectangle. And then you also have TVs by the floor that show you the circuit that you're doing, so that if the coach is off coaching the rowers or the tread station, you can still see what you're supposed to be doing. And there's like active GIFs of people demonstrating each of the movements. And then it says how many reps you're doing, how many sets. She'll call time, the coach, and then instruct you on how to continue and demonstrate all the motions with like adjustments if you have injuries or anything like that. So then after you do, so that would be like the floor, then you'd move on to tread next. Depending on where you start, you'll rotate in that order. So if you started on floor, you'd go to treads next after, of course, wiping down everything with a sanitation wipe. And then at the treadmill, they'll have different blocks every single time. So they'll tell you if you're doing like a push pace, which is like a jog or a harder jog. They'll tell you if you're doing all out, which is like your sprints. And they'll tell you when to do base pace, which is, for me, it's like power walking. And I try to go more every time. And then when you get to the rower, they'll usually incorporate like a mix of like, you'll row this many meters, then you'll get off and do this exercise for this many reps, and then you'll go back on and so forth. So what's kind of nice is like, it's all very self-paced. So if the person next to me is running at 8 miles an hour and I can't do that because I'm exhausted and I'm going to fall over, I can adjust how far I'm going and how far I'm pushing myself as long as I keep up with what the coach is telling me. So if she says like, go down to base pace, I choose what that base pace is. So if it means I have to power walk, I'll power walk during base pace, and then I'll try to pick it up to a jog if she goes to push pace or something like that. And then after you're done with all 3 stations, you do like they call it a flexibility block, where you just stretch out at the end, and then all of the scores are displayed on the screen. So the way that you read your chart, I'll pull one up so you can see it. So whenever you're looking at the TV with all of everyone's metrics on it, everybody has their own rectangle with their name. There's a circle that has the percentage that your heart is working up to capacity, so up to 100%. And then each 10 percentile is a different color. So you start out in the gray zone, which is like your heart's not really working that hard. It's anything, I believe, less than 60%. 60 to 70% is your blue zone. 70 to 80% is your green zone. 80 to 90% is orange zone. And then 90 to 100 is your red zone, which is like, they explain red zone as like very uncomfortable. So it has your rectangle changing colors. So the whole rectangle changes colors both on your personal tablet screen on the machine and on the TVs that are overhead. So you can see how you're working based on or compared to everybody else, and to see how your body's changing as you do different motions of different intervals, things like that. And you get points called splat points, which I'll show you what they look like. I'll pull up my app. For every minute that you're either in the orange heart rate zone or the red heart rate zone. Now, they say that like at the end, so at the end they give you a graph. I'll show you if I can find it. So I'll pull up today's workout for you. So at the end, you'll see this graph, which shows you how many minutes you are in each zone. And they say to look for a pyramid. So you want to have most minutes in that green zone where you're kind of comfortable. And for orange, you want at least 12 minutes in the orange zone. They call it the Afterburn Effect. Now they claim that if you have 12 minutes or more in that orange heart rate zone, you'll burn calories for up to 36 hours after your workout. You'll definitely burn calories after your workout. I think 36 hours is a bit of an inflated number. I did a bunch of research on this because I was like, that sounds like a lot. And it is a bit inflated based on the scientific evidence that's out there. But I mean, I hope I'm wrong, and I hope that it does actually mean that I'm burning more calories for 36 hours after the workout. That would be nice. And then I have 9 minutes here in the red zone, which they say is like that's like very uncomfortable. Like you shouldn't want to be in that zone. But it's kind of cool because it's like the harder you work, it's almost like a lot of people feel like you need to get more points, and that's actually a misconception. So like, for example, I had 28 splat points this round, so I have 28 right here. Those splat points tell me, let me see if I can lower my brightness so you can see it. Those 28 splat points tell me that I was in either orange or red zone for 28 total minutes in my workout. And they want me to aim for 12 or more. One of the other coaches that walked me around told me between 12 and 22, I think, is what you want, or 12 and 20, 12 and 20, I think, splat points. In the beginning, I was like, am I aiming to get more and more splat points? And that's actually a very common misconception, because it's not good for your heart to be working at close to full capacity for an extended period of time. The whole point of this is to get your heart up, your heart rate up and then down and then up and then down, to kind of have that like hit effect, like that high intensity interval training. So it doesn't, and it also doesn't mean like if you got less than 12 splat points that you didn't get a good workout. Like the whole point is to push yourself harder than you're normally pushing yourself. So if you're pushing yourself and you don't get 12 splat points, like that's okay. But the cool thing is, as you get more in shape, like even after 4 classes, and I only go like once a week, I'm noticing that I'm like using higher miles per hour on the treadmill, which I hate running. Like for me to say that I like this class and I hate running is a huge deal. So if you are pushing yourself every single class, your heart will become more efficient. I'm not positive on this. This is just how I interpreted it. The harder you're working, the more your heart gets used to that kind of level of aerobic exercise. So your heart starts becoming more efficient and it starts gaining endurance, and it won't have to work as hard to reach that same level again. So over time, me hitting the red zone for class number 1 is not going to be the same level of work as me hitting the red zone in class like 100, because my heart's going to build endurance. I'm going to be aerobically a little more efficient, and I'm going to hopefully get that same amount of work that I was getting in that first class, but bring my heart rate down to a lower zone. So if you ever look at like heart rate charts of like, if you have a Fitbit or an Apple Watch or anything, I think between a resting heart rate of between 40 and 60 is considered athletic. I think, don't quote me on this, but I think 60 to 80 is healthy. And I think 80 to 100 is like normal. So I think 60 to 80 is like super fit. So yeah. And then the other thing is that a lot of people think that Orange Theory can't be effective unless it's a unlimited class package, but that's not necessarily true, because the average person, it's recommended to have up to, I think, 120 minutes of moderate exercise a week. This is from my dietitian, which is just doing your normal thing at the gym, or 70 minutes of vigorous exercise per week, which is like an Orange Theory class. So if you take an Orange Theory class, which is 60 minutes of rigorous exercise, you only need about 10 other minutes per week of moderate exercise or exercise at the gym. Again, this could change based on your goals and your body type and whatever. So I really like it because I feel like I have more time in my week if I'm putting more effort towards a vigorous exercise, and then I can do something less rigorous at the gym and still get my weekly amount of exercise in. And then I wanted to show you some more on the app. So not only does it tell you the minutes that you were in each zone, but it'll give you the amount of calories you burned in a class. So it says that I burned 618 calories, which is like way more than I burn at the gym by myself. It says your average heart rate. So like my average heart rate was 153 during my class. My maximum heart rate was 184. I covered 1.06 miles, which is a lot for me. And I took almost 4,000 steps. And then you can go over to the treadmill or rower tab and it'll tell you those stats. So like, I'll just scroll in so you can see. And then if I go over to the rower tab, it gives me a bunch of information here. So it gives you all your stats, and it's kind of cool because if you go to your main screen, it'll tell you about like over all the time that you've taken classes. It'll give you like all of your metrics. And then I know like when it emails you your stuff at the bottom, it'll say like, this is what you did this class. This is how much you did last class. And then total life classes that you've taken. These are the different metrics that you've met. And to me, that's the most motivating part. Like I feel like I'm constantly competing with everybody else in class to make sure that like my color of my rectangle is beating everybody else's. I'm pushing myself harder. And honestly, like the heart rate band is the only thing that's like motivating me the whole time. Yeah, like the coach is cool and everything. And like I like that the atmosphere kind of almost feels like a club because they have like all the orange lights and like the really loud music. They said they used like the Rock My Run app to play music and like playlists and stuff. But the heart rate, seeing that on the screen and like competing against everybody else is probably the most motivating thing. And that's why I keep coming back. And obviously you feel great afterwards. But I'm not going to lie, the first few times that I went, I felt like I was very dizzy coming off of the treadmill, which isn't good. But I can confidently say like after, like this was only my 4th class and I went up, I increased like my maximum miles per hour on the treadmill by 2 miles per hour, which is wild. I stayed running at that pace for a lot longer than I normally do. And yeah, I already feel improvements. I feel better. I look forward to the next class, which is crazy because I, again, hate running. So yeah, if you have a chance, I would totally give it a shot. Definitely try to see if you can try a trial class before you start to see if you like it. I think it is one of those things that after the first class, you'll definitely see if you like it or not. And usually the coach will pull you aside at the end and show you your chart with you and kind of go over what everything on the chart means. So that's going to be, it's really cool. So let me know if you give it a shot, and I would love to hear what you guys have for feedback. All right, thanks for watching. Bye, guys.